I'm Mishima Yuki, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast, home of the second biggest group of Phantom Thieves ever. The first being me. Keck.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick. Joining me today is Taylor. What is up, Taylor?
What up? Oh, just had a 7-day work week, so...
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Or something. They have their benefits because the next couple days you sleep really well, and then the following week's really short. So I only have 3-day work week this week, so that's really cool.
Yeah. I just wish I could get a full night of sleep every day like you.
Dude, you know what? I can't actually do that. I have major insomnia. I can't sleep for more than 4 hours in a row without waking up.
So it just wakes you up.
Yeah, and I can't figure out what it is. I've tried melatonin. I've tried earplugs, eye masks, turning the heater off. I even got, they're not like sleeping pills. I mean, I guess they are, but I went to the doctor and they recommended me some medication. That's not really helping either. I don't know what to do.
Did this start recently?
It hasn't started recently, but I just started noticing the pattern. Like, I swear to God, it doesn't matter how tired I am, what time of night I go to sleep, but I'll wake up and I'm like, yep, it's exactly 4 hours every time without fail. There's been one night where I got 6 hours of sleep, which was really nice, but for the most part, it's only 4 hours. And then I toss and turn and try to go back to sleep. But what I've been doing lately is just going to bed earlier and then waking up earlier. So I've been getting up at like 7 when I normally get up at like 8:45 or 9. So
what is going to bed earlier for you mean?
Like 10:30.
Oh.
As opposed to midnight.
Okay.
Or later.
That's more than 4 hours, Taylor.
Like I said, if I go to bed at 10:30, so what is that? 11, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, I'll wake up around like 2:31, go back to sleep, and then I wake up at like 7 again. It's very annoying. Oh, I even bought one of those mouth guards that like are supposed to help you if you snore. I even filmed myself at night. I turn on our camera and I put the infrared light on and I record myself all night, and that didn't really do anything because there wasn't any loud noises or anything weird. It was not very helpful. So I don't know what the problem is. No, because I have that mouth guard. It helps with the snoring, which is nice, but it's not. I thought I might have sleep apnea because I hear people with sleep apnea wake up a lot. And I mean, that mouth guard is kind of serving the same function in that. So what it does is it pulls your lower jaw forward. So it opens up your throat so you can breathe easier.
Yep.
But no dice. So I don't know what they actually wrote me a prescription for Ambien, which I have not filled yet, but that's like super like intense. And the guy was like,
it's like, I don't think you need Ambien, Taylor.
Yeah, no, that is a step that I'm not willing to take yet.
Because you are, waking up in 4 hours, but you're going back to sleep, so that's good.
Yeah, there are some days where I can't, but there's some days where I can kind of go right back to sleep. So I don't know. It kind of comes and goes, but
yeah, I mean, I wake up at 2, no matter what, even if I have a day off, because I have to go to the bathroom because my body's not trained to go to the bathroom at 2.
What when do you go to sleep?
10ish.
10 to 2. Okay, well, so 4 hours. You get 4 hours of sleep also.
Yep. And then I go home and then take a nap.
Have you thought of going to bed earlier?
There's days when I do go to bed earlier. Like
okay.
sometimes I go to bed like 7 or 8. So
gotcha. Fun times.
Those are days where I'm just like dead. So it's like on the ground. I'm on the bed. It's like I can't move. All right, I'm gonna go to bed early.
Yeah,
and those days only happen when it's like a rough work day, a lot of lifting, a lot of moving stuff around. So my body's tired as well as my mind.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some JRPGs instead of
hey
our sleep problems.
Yep.
You just released a review on a new game. Well, it's not really a JRPG, but it's based off a JRPG brand,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Persona 5 Strikers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys want to watch his review, go to his channel. It's up right now. Just check it out. And the link will be not below. But I'll put the link below. Don't worry.
Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Always ragging on me because I'm liking the podcast. I see.
So yeah, Taylor, tell us about this game.
So it's funny that you say it's not a JRPG. I was shocked at how much this plays like a typical Persona game. Like, it doesn't have confidants. Like, there's no like free time or whatever. Not in the same way. But almost everything else about this game is structured like a typical Persona game. Like, you have big chunks of story. Sometimes they go a little too long. They're not palaces anymore. They're called jails, but they might as well be palaces. They're all themed around they call them monarchs, like the overlord, if you will, of the jail. And the combat is like a Dynasty Warriors or a Musou or whatever. But you really need to play like a Persona game. You need to have characters that have the weaknesses of the guys you're fighting, so you can initiate all-out attacks or follow-up attacks and stuff. And there's like puzzles in the jails. There's you can explore and find treasures. But even so, sometimes in between, like when you're sort of in between like the last phase of a dungeon or whatever, if you're in a city, you can just like walk around. Like one of your Phantom Thief buddies will be like, "Hey, can you meet me here? I wanted to go get some ramen or something." And there's like a little side activity you can do. So it's not exactly a social link, but when you do stuff like that, you get bond points, and these bond points you can spend on improving your team. Like, max HP goes up, max SP goes up, personas hit harder, you hit harder. You refill life after every battle. So like, there are like very light social aspects, and the points, like I said, the points that you earn from that can then get fed into making your team stronger. So in a way, it kind of serves the same purpose as confidants and social links and stuff like that. But this is straight up a sequel to Persona 5. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Musou spinoff. It is way, way, way more than that. It picks up 6 months later, and the general premise is, he
goes visit for Gold Week.
No, it's for summer vacation. So he comes back for the summer, and they're like, yeah, let's go on summer vacation together. Let's all have a fun trip. But of course, before they can do that, they the metaverse, something's going on in the metaverse, and you have to investigate. But it's not quite the same. And I don't want to give any more details in case I accidentally dip into spoilers. But, if you like Persona 5, you're going to like this game. Obviously, the combat's different, but everything else, most of everything else is there. And I think my favorite part is that this is like a road trip game. You're not just in Tokyo. So you go to Tokyo, then you go to Sendai, then you go to Kyoto, then you go to Okinawa. You go all over the place, which is really cool because it mixes up the environments. You get to explore, and of course you have your proverbial beach episode and stuff like that. So
of course.
Gotta have it.
But it's only in the main cast, so none of the good girls are there. None of the good confidants.
Yeah, what's really funny is when you start the game, you actually run all over town trying to find them, and like, oh, my shop's closed. Oh, sorry, I'm closed. And it's like, oh man. So yeah, no Kawakami, no Tai Takemi, none of that, unfortunately.
Unplayable.
And I think Royal fans will also be sad to hear that there's no Kasumi either. My guess is the reason why she's not in it is that they were making this almost as they were making Royal, so they didn't even know what the story was going to be for her. So they just they have a new character actually called Sophia, and she is like, how do I describe Sophia? She is a AI companion on your phone in the real world, but then she's like a normal person in the metaverse. So she's sort of like Siri is like not even the right thing. She's like a interactive AI, I guess. But she acts a lot like I guess, where she like doesn't understand complex human emotions. So she is like, "What is fun? Why are they crying right now?" You know, stuff like that. She's really cute though. She's really fun. She's probably one of my favorite characters to play as. She has battle yo-yos.
Battle yo-yos.
Yeah, and so she kind of plays like Kratos, if you will. Like she just swings him around. She has a huge range. She's really fun. But yeah, I mean, that is a general premise. But do you have any questions?
Did it keep your attention like throughout the entire time, or were there some things that you just did not like?
I felt like some of the story segments went on a little too long at times, especially at the beginning. It's, I mean, like any good Persona game, I guess the intros are always really long. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I felt like the pacing was really good because there is a calendar system, but it's not like in Persona 5 where you spend days and you have to keep track and stuff like that. It's more structured. So, which is nice. And yeah, there's always a good pacing of like, hey, we need to gather information before we can head into the jail. You do the jail. You usually have to do a couple other things before you can fight the boss. Once you fight the boss, they're like, hey, so we're going to leave the city now. Make sure you do what you want to do before you leave. And then that gives you opportunities to do side quests or interact with party members. There's a cooking aspect to this now, so you can buy recipes, buy food, whatever. But yeah, it's paced out really well, all things considered. I think the dungeons are awesome. They're really, really fun. There's quite a bit of light platforming. So you're not like doing it one-to-one, but it's like press a button to dash up here or whatever, which is cool. And then they sprinkle in all these little neat things for combat. So you're fighting or whatever, and then there'll be like, there's just this big chunk of ice and you can jump on it and then shoot it and it explodes and you can like do ice damage, or there's like a car that you can blow up or stuff like that. So there's a lot of interactable objects in the environment, which makes it fun. And it always makes it feel like fast and frenetic and like you're always doing stuff. But yeah, and even like all the new characters, all the new like bosses, they feel very Persona-ish, especially the first one. She's like a pop idol, so her outfit is really wacky. But yeah, I don't know, and it's cool.
How's the music?
It's funny you should say that, because if you don't want to listen to the new music, you can put on either the original Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal soundtrack. But and that's not like they didn't give me DLC or something, as far as I know. That's just right out of the gate. You can use that. But I like the new one. Usually, like Dynasty Warriors games always do some sort of like rock twist on the soundtrack. So I like it. I thought it was really neat. I kept the Strikers soundtrack just because I wanted to get the full experience. Most of that is just in battle. There's not a whole lot of new songs outside of combat. And in fact, there's a lot of repeated songs. So like Last Surprise, and I mean, you'll know the songs. Yeah. And the other thing that really surprised me, there's a lot of like animated cutscenes, like a lot. So it seemed like Atlas was really treating this as a sequel, not just some like cheap spin-off thing.
And the story sessions are not visual novel style where it's two people talking.
No, it plays like Persona, where there's the character models and then they have the character portraits. They're the exact same character models and character portraits from Persona 5. Like if you looked at a quick bit of gameplay, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Cool.
Yeah. Are you planning on picking it up?
I do not know.
Don't know. Okay. Okay.
When is it coming out?
I think it's out the 23rd. I was really surprised at how early they gave us codes. Usually I don't get it to like, hey, so the game comes out on the 13th and we're going to give you a code on the 10th. Good luck. It's like, God damn it. So I was really, really surprised at how much time, not only how much time they gave us to play, but also how much how early they had the embargo before the game came out. So I'm like, game companies usually only do that when they're confident their game's good, which I believe this is. I think it's got like let's check OpenCritic. I want to say it's got like an 82 or an 83 on OpenCritic. Not that means anything.
It's not even out.
Not even yet. Yeah, 82. 82. You know what was really funny is I saw one of the comments on the review was like, how have people reviewed this game already if the game's not even out yet? And I'm like, I was trying to be polite. I was like, yeah, they give early codes to reviewers. And the guy's like, oh, I didn't know that. Thanks.
Yeah. So how long is the game? How long was it?
It's long.
Is it
for me
100 hours long?
No, it's not that long. You know me, I think I'm always on the shorter side. So for me, it was like around 40 hours, but I saw reviews, people were like 45, 50. So for someone like you, who usually likes to take their time with these kind of games, you're probably looking at 50 hours at least.
It's pretty decent.
That's a lot. Yeah. I was expecting like 20 because I played the that new Hyrule Warriors, and I think I barely got 20 hours out of it. And I gotta say, I felt super lied to about that game because like, yeah, this is like a prequel to Breath of the Wild, so you're gonna get to see how the whole thing got set up. And then like almost immediately they're like, oh no, it's a time travel alternate timeline. I'm like, what the hell? But this is not that. This is like, hey, Persona 5 happened. This happened right after.
I mean, they could say that. They said the same thing with Arena and the dance game as well.
Yeah, but those are like, I feel like that's different because those are, how much story can you really get out of a dancing game? It's like, hey, so Rise needs some dance partner. Oh my God. You know, like it was very contrived. This felt, I'm telling you, I know it's hard to believe, but it feels
canon though.
Yeah, fine. But I'm telling you, like, if they called this Persona 5 2, people would be like, yeah, all right. Like, obviously the combat's different, but everything else, same.
So it gives you that Persona feel.
Absolutely.
Even though I had to cut back on some things, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah, I don't really, I mean, I just don't know how they would have done the Confidant stuff. And also, I imagine they probably didn't include that because that would have been one more thing to do. So they're like, you know, we're going to keep it to some light exploration, maybe some light social elements, but the main crux is going to be the dungeons and the story. Obviously, there's a lot of story.
Are there a lot of extras like the Hyrule Warriors stuff and the Fire Emblem Warriors?
No, it's not like that. There's no separate modes. As far as I saw, nothing like that. It's just the main story. There might be extra difficulties or something, but you got your main story and then that's it. It's not. Yeah, I think a lot of people are expecting it to be like that. You know, oh, okay, so we just have a big open map and you capture territories and you're restricted. Oh, you can only bring girls characters for this map, and then you can only bring guy characters for this map. It's not like that at all. It's like designed dungeons. And what's cool is, you know, the thing that I think a lot of people didn't like about Persona 5 is some of the characters you don't get to meet until like way late in the game, like Haru. You get every character at the start. So like when you go to the first dungeon, you're like, all right, pick your party, and you can pick anybody except Futaba, obviously. She's still your navigator, but
all right. It's good. So it sounds good. Sounds good. And you give 2 thumbs up?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played Royal, which is probably for the best because this doesn't touch on the story from that at all, which I may have gotten spoiled on what happens at the very end. So I don't even know if that matters, if you know what I mean.
Of what? The very end of what?
Royal.
You got spoiled of the very ending of Royal?
Some aspect of Royal, yes.
All right.
Of like what it is, if you know what I mean.
You could tell me after the podcast.
Okay. I'm trying not to spoil anything for people that haven't played it.
Yeah, I've already beat it, so I don't know that.
Yeah, but no, it's really good. It's great. I still think, I mean, it's hard to say because I played these back to back, but I think if you were to ask me which I liked better, I'd probably tell you Ys 8 at the moment. 9? Or Ys 9, excuse me. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really liked Ease 9. That was fun.
Okay. Speaking of these 9, let's move on to what I've been playing.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I know, Ryza 1. So I started playing that again, and I tried to actually. So I put in Ryza 1, played it for a little bit, and I'm like, this is interesting. This is interesting. And then I was like, I'm gonna buy, because everyone started talking about Ease 9, and then you were saying it was like only like 25 hours long. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I'll just buy it right now. And I bought it and started playing it. And I bought it physically, so I own it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I started playing it. I'm on chapter 4 now.
Okay.
So I don't know how many chapters there are, but apparently every chapter is a different character.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll say there's 9 chapters.
All right.
Some are longer than others, but yeah.
Like the first chapter is only like 30 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah, the what was I gonna say? Yeah, until you get everybody, you'll get to meet one character per chapter until you have everybody.
So I was totally media blackout on this game, but I get a feeling that one of the characters at the end is one of the monstrums, and I'm like, she looks very familiar. She looks very similar to a certain girl, everyone's favorite. Pretty sure that she's a monstrum. I don't know if it's true.
Everyone's favorite?
Yeah, everyone loves the cowgirl.
Oh. I don't want to spoil anything. You can figure it out.
So there's one aspect that it's kind of confusing me.
Okay.
Like I can't really say it because it's kind of a spoiler.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on here? I have a feeling that has something to do with the beginning or between dreams and reality, mixing into one. I don't know. But yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yep, that's a big plot point. So I don't want to say anything. It's a big plot point, though.
Okay. So let's talk about the game in general. I feel like this game is slower than 8.
Really?
It feels slower than 8. The combat's a little slower, and the characters move a little slower.
I will say they move slower. As someone that has sped run Ease 8 quite a few times, the jump dash is not, you don't hop. It's just like you just die when you jump hop, which sucks, but I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, it just feels like everyone is a little heavier. The combat seems a little slower. Not that even though it's fast, it feels like Tokyo Xanadu speed right now. That's what it feels like to me. And yeah, it's fun. Some like the flash guards and the flash moves, the two of them, they seem a little harder to pull off. I don't know why. I can't do, like before I was able to do the flash moves a lot easier. The blue one, I was able to dodge everything really easily, but this one I can't do it for some reason. I just can't get the timing down correctly. Flash guard I could do it just fine, but not moves. I like the invincibility flash moves give you.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Exploring the city, I don't know. I think Hookah was saying that he doesn't like the downtime when you have to explore the city and do side quests and everything. I think that's what he was talking about.
Well, he said he didn't know what to do because it just says explore the city. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, to me, I never felt lost because I feel like at some point the game was just like, hey, to unlock the next portal, you can do this by doing side quests and stuff. I'm like, okay, so whenever it's time to go do that, I'll just do side quests. So I always did them.
It's funny because the side quests are actually like required quests.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so it's like you have to do certain side quests to, move the story forward. But then you also have to do the side quests to unlock a vortex. So like side quests are required unless you just want to grind the entire time. Which, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
So, but I like exploring the city, especially now. I'm trying to explore and find all the petals.
Yeah, once you get all the gift movements, it's fun, right?
Yeah. I keep running. I don't know if this is true, but it feels like White Cat's faster than everyone else. But I think it's just an illusion because she's a tiny tiny little girl, and it makes it look like she's running faster. But I always, whenever I'm traveling, I'm always using white cat because it feels like she's moving faster.
Do you have doll yet? The doll?
I'm on the chapter where I'm going to get doll.
Okay. Again, this also could be an illusion, but she has like roller skates that she rides on, and so I always explored with her. So
because it feels like she's faster, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if she is. I feel like everybody's probably about the same speed, but yeah, I'll be curious to hear what you think of her once you get her.
So is it always a party of 3? You have to pick and choose which ones you want to use, or is it you can use all of them at once when you start getting all of them?
No, I mean it's like Ease 8 where you can only have 3 characters at a time. Yeah,
okay,
but you don't have to have Adol if you don't want to.
Okay, but why wouldn't you always want to have Adol?
Yeah, right, exactly. I will say you probably haven't unlocked one of these items yet, but one of my favorite things is like in past games, or maybe not, but in past games you were restricted to their like attack type, so like smash or pierce or whatever, and so you usually wanted one of each, so if you needed them you could swap to them for the weaknesses. But what's cool is you can get items so you can switch whatever their attack type is.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't gotten that.
Yeah, because Doll and Adol have the same attack type. I was like, oh, that sucks. But then I got an item that switched hers. I'm like, oh, sweet. Now I can keep her in my party. So
I like how they gave you, if you do the side quest, I don't know if it's required or not, but if you do the side quest with the maid with the mask, she's just like, oh, I have all the shops are with me now, so you don't have to go to each shop.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's nice, right?
Yeah. It's like,
very convenient.
I'm every shop put together. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you I think what I'm doing right now is I'm saving all my shards for the end game, just in case I need like a rare item. I'll just buy it with the shards. Is that what you did?
No, I'm trying to think what I spent those on. I guess it would be, yeah, I guess so. So at the end of the game, if you keep up with the side quests, you unlock like the master recipe guide or whatever, and you can have your blacksmith guy make like the ultimate weapons. So I think what I would do is I started spending them once I unlocked that to get like the best weapons. So that might not be the worst idea, actually. Because some of the ingredients is like, do I go grind for them or what do I do? So
yeah. So yeah, side quests are very important in this game because you unlock characters that are like required.
Yeah,
it feels like. So do the side quests, and they're not like find. One of them, a couple of them are like find a peephole in the bathhouse.
Yeah, that was a funny side quest.
Yeah, so it's obviously leading up to another quest after that, but it's like, okay, so I'm going to search every window and that's all I need to do is look at every window to find a peephole. It's like, hey, I found one. So, well, what is this? I got beeped. Oh, whatever.
You got beeped?
Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. I played it a lot yesterday. A lot. I think I did 2 chapters, and that's like the most I've played a video game in a long time.
Must have been addicting then, or good, or something.
Or I had time because it was my day off today.
Or that.
So that's good. It was fun because I've been playing on my PS2, and I can't really lay down in bed while playing the PS2 that's right here. With the PS4, it's wireless, so I could use the TV up there. So it's nice.
Let me ask you this: like, you're on chapter 4. Do you know how many hours you are in?
I have not. No, I haven't checked.
Okay, so if you want to know, there's like a records section, and somewhere in the records it'll tell you.
All right.
I'll check.
I'll check. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay, I have a funny feeling that I blazed through that game because another person that that I'm buddies with named Alex has a channel, and they did a review on Ys 9. And the title of the video is Ys 9 review 60 hours later. I'm like, 60 hours? You like doubled my playtime. And I feel like I did everything. So I don't know what other people are doing, or if they were just being very methodical or left the game on or something. But I was really shocked.
I was testing, one of the chapters was, I noticed that getting knocks, there's like 2 blips. I'm wondering what those blips are. I have no idea what those blips are. And you know how it's like there's the Nox thing, and then there's like 2 crystals. Every 100 you get one of those crystals things.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are. And I was like, okay, so I have no more side quests and I have 100 Nox. I need 200 Nox. So I spent like an hour or 2 just grinding all the luminaries all around. So that you know, I bet you didn't do that.
So I'll tell you this. So you may not have gotten to this point yet, but like at some point, you know, you spend 100 to unlock a vortex, and then if you get another 100, there's like side vortexes that aren't part of the main story.
I've done that too. I've done that.
Okay. So mainly that's really all it's for. And then obviously when you complete a chapter, it like banks all your points and you get you get shards, I think. I don't know what you get.
Turns to shards.
So that's all it's for as far as I can tell.
All right. I'm trying to make sure I always get 100 at least. Because every vortex, even the side vortexes, it takes away 100.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, the vortexes are very easy. I'm getting S's on every single one of them.
Yeah, that was probably like one of my least favorite things about the game, because they're basically raids from Ys 8, but not as good. I feel like. Because they all come from the same spot, and then you just sit there and you spam your attacks, and then you don't even have to go anywhere. But in like the raid, you had to kind of jump all over the place, you know. So they don't really get that much better either, unfortunately. But
there's different types where you have to destroy a bunch of crystals and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's all right.
Yeah, the crystal ones are cool. Those ones are a little bit better. I much prefer those.
What I don't get though is at the beginning of every one of those things, it goes into like a movie. It plays a movie of her saying like this thing. And you could tell it's a movie because it's like it has pixels and stuff, like what's it called? It has compression artifacts. And I'm like, wait.
Frame rates only 30 too. I know.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. Why did they do this? Like, why did they put a movie for this when you could just render it in game?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand why game companies do that.
And it's you could totally tell because you can see the compression artifacts.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. It's not game breaking or anything. It's just like something to like an edit. Like if you were a casual player and didn't notice these things, you probably wouldn't notice it. I noticed it because I'm like, okay, something is different here, and it's artifacty. So yeah, I probably just ruined a bunch of people's playthroughs. So like, oh my gosh, I see it now. Yep. But the game runs fine. I'm on PS4, and there's some dips here and there. Not really, especially non-combat. Combat seems a lot easier. Is that your impression as well? Yeah, especially in like the tight dungeons. You know, like when there's not as much that the game has to render. It definitely ran better. The only times it really dipped ever was when you're in like some of the big parts of the city where there's a lot going on. And then some battles where there's like a lot of enemies and a lot of spell effects going off. But for the most part, it was pretty solidly 60. Yeah. Bosses, I've been hit really hard in bosses and almost been like dying. But then when you get like your boost is all the way, you just throw that up and then you just wail on the boss, and then he just dies really quick, and then you use your ultimate move right at the end. And I'm like, I hope combat gets a little more difficult. Are you playing on Nightmare? I'm playing on hard. Okay. You might have to bump it up to Nightmare, because I started on normal and it was super easy. I bumped it up to hard, and like you said, I was like, it's a little harder, but Nightmare is really when I know you like your challenge. That might be your sweet spot. I want the challenge, but at the same time, I want to not waste my time right now. I want to get the game over with, so
That's fair.
I have other things to play, like Ryza 2.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a couple bosses in the, near the end of the game that get pretty challenging. But yeah, the bosses I feel like are also kind of all over the place. Like I feel like the first like 5 bosses were just like they just sit there and swing at you. There was like no interesting mechanics or anything.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
But I will say that as you get more characters, they eventually like require you to utilize their gifts to like beat them, which is cool. I want to say something else, but I don't want to spoil it. But there's some really interesting bosses. That's all I'll say.
Good. It's good.
Yep.
It's good. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. It's fun. It's good fun. Ryza 2. I don't know if I should do Ryza 1 after. I'm not sure.
Why not before?
Well, because I'm playing Ys 9. And I gotta finish Shadow Hearts 2.
Oh, okay.
I got a lot on my plate. And I gotta sleep.
No, I'm saying why not play Ryza 1 before Ryza 2?
Oh, that's what I meant. Play Ryza 1 and then 2.
Ah. Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But a little update on the Tales of Destiny DC patch.
Uh-huh.
So it's crowdfunded. It's crowdsourced. So just a bunch of people working on it, and these guys are like working like dogs because when I first started watching it, they're like, okay, the story is like at like 1%, the menus at like 25%, the skits are like 35%. Right now, the story is like at like 30%, the skits are like at 65%, and the menu is like almost done. And I'm like, it's only been like a week and they're already done this much.
Whoa,
Jeez.
crazy.
But
I wonder how many people are working on it.
I don't know how many, but it's pretty cool seeing like these people work on it. And I just hope that they patch it up. Like, it's a fan-made project, so it's going to be buggy and it's not going to be like professional like the other ones are going to be. But it's going to be cool to be able to play Tales of Destiny and in English. But you guys actually need to know how to patch it. Like I ripped the physical copy. I ripped the ISO off the disc, so I'm able to patch it up legally. So
interesting.
And I actually have a disc of it burnt with the patch on it, but it is not complete, so it's super buggy and some things freeze it. And I found one of the freezes. I'm like, oh, okay. It's one of those things. I'm not gonna mess with this until it's like really complete. But yeah, it's cool that it's happening. Hopefully they don't get cease and desist. And they said that they're probably gonna do Destiny 2 next. So
wow,
pretty cool.
Nice.
Happy.
Because before you played it and you had like a spreadsheet more or less on the side while you were playing, right? Kind of just reading it live.
Yeah, I had a guide and it has like the script, and even the script's not even complete. So there's some things where it's just like ... So it's like, okay. I already knew the story from the PS1 version, so that's like I knew what was going on already. So it was just cool being able to play that game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
For to be like ripped out. It's like I just remember an IGN back in like 2001, 2002. IGN was the big gaming site, right? And they had Tales of Destiny 2 for the PS2, and they had videos and everything. I was watching. I'm like, oh man, this is cool. It's Stan's son, and can't wait to get this in the US. And nope, never.
Nope.
Never got it.
You hate to see it.
It hurts. Yeah, had that multiple times. Seeing the Tales of Destiny 2 remake, it's like, oh my gosh, the remake of Tales of Destiny. Never came here.
It sucks.
That was the life of being a Tales fan. Like a true Tales fan and not just a Symphonia fanboy.
Yeah. Yep.
I think a Taylor is like, yeah, I'm not getting into that one. I'm just those jaded FF6 fans that are like, FF6 is the best Tales game to the Final Fantasy VII fans. It's like, I'm a Final Fantasy fan. When did you start? Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I'm one of those bad weebs. I started with 7.
Started with 7. Can't play 6.
Can't do it.
Impossible.
Won't do it.
Well,
Tried it twice.
Okay. If they made a remake and it had like speed up mechanics, would you try to play it?
I mean, if they had a remake, it would probably play better and not. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I would need that.
Not like a remake, like a remaster.
Oh,
if it had like the speed up mechanics of FF9.
Yeah, probably. I could probably jam with that.
Well, Abe was having troubles beating FF6 because he said it was so boring, and then it gets to this point, and right after this point, it starts like getting really good. Like it starts, and he's like, "Oh man, this game's awesome." So I wonder if you ever got past that point.
Probably not. I think I know what point he's talking about, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty far away from that.
Yeah.
Because I think I stopped around the same time both times. And you know what's funny? There's like a handful of JRPGs where I tried to play them multiple times and I stopped at almost the exact same point. I'm like, this is where the game just loses steam. You know, like happened with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Never finished on the Wii U. Got all excited, bought the Switch version. Stopped at the same point. Same thing with Vesperia. Yeah, I got pretty far, never finished it, and then I bought the Switch version, and I think I stopped at the same spot. And I'm like, these games, like they have this formula to them, and at some point, that formula just runs out of steam for me.
I'm done. It's like I'm done.
Yep. I gave you 2 shots. That's all you get.
Okay, I gotta ask you this. When was the last time you played original FF7?
Right before 7 Remake actually came out. I wanted to replay it because it had been a couple of years.
And you were able to?
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. I didn't play the whatever enhanced remaster. I played old school PS1 disc with a memory card, you know?
You're like, the only way you dusted off your old PS1, put that in. Has this
it was my PS2 that I was playing it on, but yeah.
You dusted off your PS2 with the PSM stickers still on it.
Oh yeah.
And they had the memory card with the PSM sticker on it with the hot anime chick.
Mm-hmm. Mine's got a Legend of Dragoon on it.
You actually have one. That's what's funny.
Yep.
Connor has one. Wait, does he still have the PS1 that has like the Thrill Kill sticker on it?
Maybe. The one I remember was the smiley face with the eye patch or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
I think that's on his memory card.
Oh, okay.
Man. PSM, good times.
Those are so cool. I love the PSM or the memory card stickers. Those are great.
People have good fond memories of Nintendo Power. We had good fond memories of old school PSM.
Mm-hmm.
The unofficial PlayStation magazine. Is that what it's called? The unofficial PlayStation magazine?
Yeah. It definitely wasn't official. Yeah. And they had great stuff. It was awesome.
Like swimsuit editions.
Yeah, I remember they would commission artists to do, these big comic book spreads of like Lara Croft and Tifa and stuff like that.
I mean, all I remember is like two versions of that, but it was very funny that they did that because they had this like every they had like their own custom artists draw their covers and everything. Good times. Yeah. Good times. So let's go to questions.
Okay.
All right. There's a lot of them here. What is each of our top 5 JRPG storylines and what makes each of them special to you? Mine are the following. 1, Skies of Arcadia. I am very biased. It was my first JRPG. Everyone has that one. 2, Tales of the Abyss. Luke's character development really resonated with me. So Huka was a total brat at the beginning of his life, and I'm just joking, Huka. Persona 3, Persona 4 Golden, the whole accepting your dark side moving forward really connected with me. 4, Final Fantasy 7, in my opinion, the most epic story in JRPGs to this day. In my opinion, he said that twice. 5, Xenoblade Chronicles, the twists near the last quarter blew my 14-year-old mind.
Interesting. Stories. See, here's the like, I've had a hard time lately when people ask me questions like this because I have a hard time
remembering.
Well, not remembering, separating the story from the characters, because sometimes the story is not interesting, but the characters are. Like, for example, like Dragon Quest XI, you're collecting MacGuffins, like that's what you're doing in that game. So the story is boring, but the characters are great. So I don't know if that counts. But yeah, Persona 4 Golden for sure has a great story. Let's see. I'd probably say 7 also. Trying to think of other really good stories.
Final Fantasy Tactics is going to be on ours, both of ours, I know for sure, because at the beginning, it's like a traditional medieval betrayal story, and then I think it's the end of the second chapter, it suddenly becomes like a gothic horror story where it's like it gets like a lot bloodier and darker, and it's like, whoa, it's really weird, because at the beginning when people get stabbed, there's like no blood, there's nothing, and then like after chapter 3, when people get stabbed, like they're bleeding and the sword is all bloody, and you'll never.
Oh yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
like really weird. It's like totally, this tone just shifts, and I love it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It definitely definitely has a big tone shift. Yeah, see, this is hard for me because, like I said, I keep going back to I can't separate the story from the characters. And I might just have to cheat.
I was gonna say Final Fantasy Tactics is Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would say Ni no Kuni, the original Ni no Kuni, had a good story.
Never played, never finished it.
Oh, I loved it because the story is basically, Oliver. I can't spoil it. This little boy Oliver is trying to save his mom, and the only way he can do it is by going to this fantasy world with his puppet or his doll that comes to life.
Was Mr. Slippy or whatever?
Mr. Drippy, yeah.
Mr. Drippy.
Mr. Drippy, yep, he's great.
What kind of voice has he got?
I guess they call him Welsh. Oi, mun. Yep. He always said mun. Yeah, he's very Welsh. So what did I say? 7 Tactics.
Ni no Kuni.
Persona 4, Ni no Kuni. And then whatever. I'll just say Dragon Quest 11 because I like those characters a lot. Story is whatever, but there's got to be a better one.
So we got Grandia 1, great story.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it starts off, we're like, yeah, I'm gonna go on an adventure, and then becomes like a character story of him growing up, and then it becomes a story of him saving the world. So it's like multiple. It's a huge character arc for Justin, and I love it.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, it's a very good story. And then I was like Grandia 2, but Grandia 2 is like, everyone loves Grandia 2, but Grandia 2 I think is weaker than Grandia 1, but it's still a good story. But it's like a stereotypical light versus darkness story. But it's I like it. I enjoy it. But Justin's a better protagonist.
Yeah, Justin's great. By the way, I'm not looking. I'm trying to look up my top 10 JRPGs video to see what all I had on there, because I'm trying to see if one of those would be added.
I like Tales of Destiny storyline. I mean, of course, it's the JRPG that I freaking grew up with, right? But I like how it's like the first act is semi-connected to the second act. Because it's like, oh, this guy stole this thing, and we gotta go find this rare artifact. And it's like, okay, so the whole thing is about you trailing this guy and trying to find where he is and finding this artifact that he stole. And then at the end of the act, you find him, and you save the artifact. But that artifact is now stolen by someone else, and it starts up the main storyline. So it's like, whoa, okay. The game doesn't end. It feels, because the first act of Tales of Destiny is like a game on its own. But it's like loosely connected to the main storyline. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoy how it's 2 different storylines pretty much. So Grandia, Tales of Destiny, Final Fantasy Tactics. Ugh. It's hard to think of these on the spot, man.
It is. I'll say for my last one, and this might be a weird answer, is Octopath Traveler. Not obviously there is no overarching story, but there are these little individual stories, and some of those are really, really good. Ophelia and Primrose, both of their stories are really interesting. So I'm going to say that for my last one.
Good. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a good storyline.
Man, that's awesome.
Even though it's just like one part of the main Final Fantasy VII storyline. What else? I'm trying to think of like ones that didn't come out when I'm an adult because those didn't affect me as much as they did as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've said all of them that I played as a kid. Tactics, Grandia, Tales of Destiny.
Did you ever beat Lunar?
I did beat Lunar, but but that one just didn't really have an effect on me because it was just a stereotypical JRPG. I didn't beat the PS1 version, even though we had it. But I did beat the PSP version.
That's probably the better version, though. So
I mean, yeah, it's like the same thing, right? The same game. Except this one had an actual world map, unlike the PSP version, where it's just dots on a map.
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, it was fine. Speaking of PSP, I think one of them is actually Legend of Heroes: Tear of Vermilion. When I played a Falcom game before I even knew what Falcom was.
So none of the Cold, you wouldn't say any of the Cold Steel games are your favorite story? Speaking of Falcom?
I'm trying to pick games that I didn't play when I was an adult.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I played that one when I was like 14. And that one, even though it was like translated really poorly, like PS1 poorly, I enjoyed the story a lot, even though it was a very basic game. Very good story. Which one? I'm gonna pick a Trails game, right? I think Cold Steel 2 is the better Cold Steel out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah, that story was that contained story is good. It's all about him finding everyone and the Civil War and all that. And it ended better. I mean, it didn't really. It ended, but at the same time, it didn't really end. So yeah, and I like the character interactions better in that one. Yeah, those are my games.
Nice.
Here's another. This is hard. I'm gonna save yours, Josiah, for when we have Shadow on.
Yeah, but I'm looking at these names and I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'd guess. I mean, I'd be blind guessing, but I don't think I know a single one of those.
Spaghetti, what was the biggest slap in the face in gaming? What was your biggest slap in the face in gaming? Mine was when I bought an Xbox One, and 4 months later, Microsoft announced most games will be coming to the PC, and now it resides as my 4K Spotify machine. 4K Spotify machine.
Wow. The biggest slap in the face in gaming. That is that's a hard one. I mean, the one that comes to mind immediately is Final Fantasy 13, just because it was such a divergence for the series. To me, that was like the beginning of the dark period of JRPGs. That's what marked it. It's like, what? Something's off here. So that would be what I would say. I'm trying to, and then I think another one that comes to mind are the PS Vita memory card prices. Those were just horrendous. There was no reason. There was zero reason to do that.
PlayStation handhelds in general were big slaps in the face because they were so good. They're such good handhelds, but Sony kept shooting themselves in the foot like every step of the way.
Yeah. What about the PSP? What was wrong with the PSP?
I mean, same thing. The memory cards.
Were they expensive?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They're the same thing. Just the games they were throwing out on them weren't good. They weren't. They did kind of did the same. Like the piracy kind of killed it, and so they stopped like release. They didn't support it like they did in Japan, especially the Vita. They had so much potential that they just dropped it. Like they stopped doing PlayStation 1 classics and all that stuff. And it's like, why did you run that? Those are like the best things to get. I mean,
you know what's really weird is I remember when there was like a week where they dropped all these games, and then like the next week, like, yeah, just kidding. I don't know what happened. Nope. Like all the Crash Bandicoot games.
No, what they did, remember, they blocked certain PS1 classics from going to the Vita, and then 1 week, every single one was allowed. Like, I don't know what they did, but every single one was allowed to download onto them. That's it, yeah. And people were like, just download it on your Vita right now, just do it. And those were like the Crash Bandicoots. Like, for some reason, you weren't able to get Crash Bandicoot on your... Made no sense.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what happened, but I definitely remember that.
I had one of the biggest slaps in my face. Oh, Final Fantasy 15. What the
hell
is that?
Yeah, I could see how you would say that. But
I was like, oh, I'm ready to go on an adventure. I'm ready to go on an adventure, and okay, I'm just gonna do the main story quests. That's all I did. It's like I like driving around. This is fun. Okay, the side quests are the exact same thing every single time.
Yeah, the side quests are bad. They're terribad.
That's a big slap in the face. I mean, come on. I say this one all the time. Namco not bringing over the 2D PS2 Tales games. Painful. Announcing a new Final Fantasy Tactics sequel and putting it on the Game Boy Advance.
What the heck? Come on, guys.
What the heck?
Canceling Final Fantasy Tactics 2.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? And I'm not saying Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is bad. I'm just saying that Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, you're like, oh.
They're different. Yeah, they're different. I'm also going to say White Knight Chronicles, because I expected better from level 5. Like, if I look at all, like, I've played a lot of level 5 games. That's like the only game I would say is bad. That's a bad game.
Yeah.
Not a fan. You know, like Professor Layton, those are all amazing. Ni no Kuni, Dark Cloud. I mean, they have so many great games that they put up. But like, what the hell?
I want everyone who's listening, I want you guys, if you disagree with that opinion, that White Knight Chronicles is actually a good game, I want you to post your points of it being a good game. Like, what makes it a good game?
Yeah,
I want to
please.
know. I actually want to know.
I'd love to know.
Yeah. And this is speaking from someone who actually played a lot of it. I played a lot of it. I liked playing the online parts, which was a Dark Cloud. But yeah. Too many. Would you say the PS3 is a slap in the face with you? Because the PS3 is very nostalgic for me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, even though there weren't that many JRPGs until the very end, when a lot of like Tales games started coming out on him, which I was like, oh, sweet, Tales game. But
yeah, that's hard for me to say, because as you might recall, there was a time where I wasn't playing anything. It was like I replay Final Fantasy VII and Madden, and like that's all I would play. So PS3 was like my comeback into gaming. So for me, it's hard to dunk on that. And I got into like so many different kinds of games that I normally wouldn't, like, you know, Uncharted and stuff like that.
See, this is when Taylor came back from his Warcraft and Madden era. He came back.
Yeah. Yeah, I became a core gamer again, where I followed the news and all that stuff. I was a filthy casual for a while.
He was lost, and then he was found again. And I don't know what caused that change.
I don't know. You know what? Honestly, I think this all comes full circle back to Final Fantasy 13, because just generally speaking, because of how bad that game was, it reinvigorated my interest in JRPGs to begin. As you remember, I bought all those PS1 JRPGs and I just started playing them. And then I think because you were playing a lot of PS3, I was like, all right, time to get back into gaming.
Because I started playing a lot of the Sony games, right? And you started watching me and like, oh, these are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was pretty blown away. And I remember, I think the first like handful of games I got was Batman Arkham Knight, Resident Evil 5,
Uncharted 2.
and I think Uncharted 2, I think, were those like the first handful of games. And those are pretty good games to, to kick off with. So,
Uncharted 2 brings back a specific memory where I was watching E3. I think it was during E3, and they're showing off Uncharted 2's multiplayer, right? And you come into my room, you're like, hey, what's up, man? And then I'm like, oh, hey, Taylor. And then I'm like, and hey, Morgan. And Morgan just walks into my room.
Oh, that's funny.
That was the weirdest thing. But, like, cool. It's pretty cool. And people are wondering, like, back in the day, we were really into Loading Ready Run. And they're like a Canadian. Now they do a bunch of, the only thing they do is like magic videos. But back in the day, they're like a skit kind of group where they just did skit videos and stuff like that. And one of the cast members was Morgan. And it was really interesting seeing him appear. So it was like kind of getting starstruck a little bit there.
Yeah, it was funny because I remember Maddie was really into cooking at the time, and she hated how the way he said basil. He said basil, and I remember when we went to the jungle one time, and she's like, "Just so you know, it's basil, not basil." And he's like, "Oh, excuse me." Like, I remember.
Why did you guys go to the jungle?
I don't know. Maybe you were maybe we were dropping Maddie off or picking Maddie up, or you were working. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I just remember being in the jungle.
I remember you like sneaking up at me when I exited my shift that one night.
Oh yeah. Did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
I was like, what the hell? Good memories. A little tangent there. From Gamer-esque asks, what was your favorite JRPG that wasn't exclusive to the handheld console? For me, it's been Radiant Historia since I first played it on the DS a decade ago. A top 3 or 4 game of all time in my list.
Well, he was very particular with his verbiage that was exclusive. So Persona 4 Golden was exclusive at one point. Yeah. But now it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it was exclusive for a long time.
So that, I mean that's my favorite game, so I'm going to say that.
I mean, I said Legend of Heroes Tear Vermilion. That was on the PSP, and that was really good.
Better as Radiant Historia. Better than that.
I didn't play Radiant Historia. I mean, I did play Radiant Historia, but I didn't play it fully until I played the 3DS version.
Yeah, it's still a handheld.
Yeah.
But you like the Tear Vermilion better?
I don't know why, but I keep thinking about like me in the past and not focusing on me like in the present.
Okay.
Radiant Historia is also really good. Yes. Very, very, very good.
Just for the sake of keeping this interesting, if it besides Persona 4 Golden, I would probably say Fire Emblem Awakening, because that was also another landmark game in that it got me back into Nintendo systems, because before that, the last Nintendo console I owned was a GameCube, and the only game I played on it was the Resident Evil remake. I don't think I owned any other games for it. So it was like, Nintendo. Did I play wrestling games on that?
It was the wrestling games that we played were always on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, the N64 had a bunch of really good wrestling games. But yeah, I didn't do like Game Boy Advance or DS or whatever. I didn't play those. Didn't play the Wii really. I didn't own a Wii. Never owned a Wii. So for me, Fire Emblem Awakening I played it not too long ago all over again. I did a replay of it. It's not like amazing, but it's got like a special place in my heart because it's like one of those games like, oh, this made me like a Nintendo fan again, you know?
Yeah.
And also we hadn't had a good strategy RPG in a really long time. So I was like, all right, it's getting good reviews. I'll play this. I was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty good.
I mean, I played Cold Steel 1 and 2 on the Vita before it started coming out everywhere else. And it wasn't exclusive though. I think JRPG exclusives on the handhelds were like a weak point of ours because we didn't really play most of them. Another one was at Rune Factory 4.
Yeah.
But that's now on the Switch. So.
Which is technically a handheld, but I see what you're saying. It can be played on TV.
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Nice.
So if I played the Dream one, the Dream Team. Yeah, Dream Team. People said that one's not as good, but I enjoyed it. Very long.
And then I would say also Bravely Default, except for the very end. Yeah, the ending is real bad.
I felt like that was during when I didn't really play JRPGs. I played a game and stopped playing it. Did that a lot I did that for Memories of Silsetta, which is also a Vita game, and it was good. Oh, Tales of Hearts R. That was a good Vita game. Okay, now they're all flooding into my head. Tactics Ogre.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god, that game's great.
Yeah. Great music, great everything. There's a good stuff. Those were Vita and PSP games. But Bravely Default, I don't even know how far I got. I stopped playing it and sold it. Surreal Killer asks, when I first played FF12 on my 480 tube television in my parents' house, I remember the scene where Akira lose their temper with Ash, and their voice creeped me out profoundly. Think of a time playing an RPG where a scene really surprised and maybe even creeped you out.
Huh. Surprised and maybe even creeped me out. I mean, I haven't really played a lot of RPGs that creeped me out, honestly.
What made you feel uncomfortable?
This really shocked me. And this is a huge spoiler for Persona 5. But let me see if I can say this without spoiling it. But a certain somebody is on the roof. If you know what I mean?
Oh, and they actually...
Yeah, I was shocked. And they showed it. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe they did that. And that was like in the first palace, or in that arc of the first palace. I was like, oh my God, they're really going for it in Persona 5. All right. I was so blown away. I was really surprised.
And they never got that deep ever again. That dark ever again.
The first dungeon was like the best one, in my opinion.
It was all dark and decrepit. And then the rest of them were just like, oh, okay, typical Persona adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, the bad guy's a fly. I don't know. Yeah.
What keeps me out? Nothing comes to mind, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really get creeped out easily.
Yeah. What about shocking or surprising? Any big plot twist where you're like...
I know what gift you're doing too.
Yeah.
Shocking. No. Like, I called all the twists in Cold Steel. Especially the true ending twist. I'm like, I knew it. I totally knew it.
I'll say this. I think Xenoblade attempts at doing like all these twists, but at some point they got exhausting for me. Like, when you originally played it, were any of the twists like, whoa, okay? Or could you also see those come? Yeah, the original Xenoblade.
No, because I think I already knew about them.
Oh, okay.
I think I was spoiled by... I think people in the Discord were just talking about it, and they're like, do you care if you do spoilers? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then once you play one Xeno game, you know the twist already of every Xeno game. So, like every Xeno game has the same exact twist.
Except X. X is not. I would say that's a separate canon because it doesn't have that twist that I think I know what you're talking about. Man, it's a pretty straight up sci-fi game, but not in that way.
I see. You know what? I'm even thinking about. Can I just get off of? Is it only JRPGs?
I mean,
yeah,
if we want to go,
the only time that a game actually freaked me out, and it wasn't even freaky, it just surprised me. Okay, I was playing the thing. Okay,
how did I know you were gonna say the thing? I knew it.
I was playing the thing because this is like one of the first horror games I've ever played. So I was playing the thing, and I was just running around, and I killed all the things already, right? So I wasn't expecting this thing. I wasn't expecting this thing to happen. So I was running down this hall, and I look up the stairs. I wasn't paying attention. I look up the stairs, and I see the silhouette of a hulking thing, like right in front of me, being backlit by a light. So it looked freaky. So I was like, ah, like that. I actually did that. That's like the only time I actually screamed out loud doing that, and I paused it, and I was like, okay, let's continue. And the graphics back then are not that good. Like thinking about it now, it was terrible. But it looked freaky because it was backlit. It looked backlit, and it was like totally shadowed. And it was just a big hulking figure, and it just freaked me out because I wasn't paying attention. I look up and okay, there's a thing there. Okay, that's the only time out of all the horror games that I've played, that's the only time I really screamed like that. Even with PT, I wasn't. I
was just gonna say, the time I've screamed.
Yeah. Even with PT, and Taylor was like, and his chair almost fell over, and
I'll never forget.
Scared her roommate.
That's what I remember most about this. I screamed so loud. He was like, "Whoa!" Like he had his headphones on too, so it must have been really loud. It was so loud.
He scared him. That was pretty funny.
I screamed at the top of my lungs. I've never had a game make me scream like that. That was because it
was just a sudden jump scare.
Yeah.
And it was because it built it up because you're like, there's something here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, I'm so pissed they never got to make that game, man. It sucks.
Yep.
Would have been awesome.
Would have been. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. The Proletariat.
Yep.
The Proletariat asks, how do you work your way through an especially tough boss fight? Do you continue to retry it, or will you quickly go back to grinding experience for your party? At what point do you consult a guide or change difficulty? Taylor and I have the same strategy. If we can't beat a boss, sleep on it. And then you wake up and you beat it in the first try.
Yeah, especially if it's an action game, like with with Bloodborne. That happened a lot where I would just be stuck and I'm like, dude, F this. I can't do this right now. And then I would come back the next day. I'm like, oh, first try. Okay.
Yeah. Every time.
It's amazing how often that happens.
Every time that happens.
Tokyo Xanadu for me.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about for you. You couldn't beat the final boss, and you were getting so frustrated. You were streaming it too, and you're like, you know what, F this, and you just turned off the stream because everyone was egging you on, and then you beat it the next day. In the morning, you just turned it on and did it.
Yeah, exactly. That was easy. I think it was a combination of being tired. I just wanted to beat the game. And you guys are pissing me off, and I was like, I can't right now.
You can't handle it right now. Okay, so really though, I don't have that. I don't really have. I just will through it. If it's literally impossible though, like you're getting your ass handed to you, if I'm getting my ass handed to me, and I'm able to grind a little bit, I would grind. I would just grind and do it. But I've played enough JRPGs where I never get into that situation anymore. Because back in the day, I would just I would fight battles and it's I don't want to fight you. I'm just going to run away. I'm going to run away. And you wouldn't get your experience, right? So you would go to the boss and you'd be underleveled and you wouldn't have enough spells and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore. I just fight every battle. So I'm always leveled and yeah. If I die, I'll just retry, and because sometimes you fight a boss and you have no idea what this boss is doing. What the boss does. So you're like, okay, that's cheap, but I know how to counter it. And then you just like lower his defense and give everyone resist poison. And now there you go. You beat him. He's easy.
Yep.
So normally it takes like a playthrough if I can't beat a boss. The play takes like 1 or 2.
Gotcha.
My Travis at 13 asks, what's your guys' most overrated and underrated game this generation? No, Taylor, you're not allowed to answer Tokyo Xanadu.
Fine, I'll say Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus.
No, there you go. Perfect.
I'm just kidding. I would say underrated. I'm gonna say Dusk Diver. If I can't say Tokyo Xanadu, like nobody knows what that game is, but it's very similar to Tokyo Xanadu in that it's like city exploration, but then there's an alternate reality where you fight monsters and stuff. But it's only like 9 hours long. It's not that long. It's short, but it's like super fun. I really got addicted to it. I was like, oh, it's got a cool look to it. The animation looks fun. And I started playing. I was like, whoa, this game is like blowing me away with how fun it is. Yeah, that game is really, I hope they do a sequel. That would be really cool.
I think that name popped up recently. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a different one, but you should look it up. Maybe there is a sequel coming out.
Dusk Diver.
For me, Undertale.
Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Yeah, I figured.
I've never played it, so I'm just joking, guys. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just trying to piss off people. Overrated.
So I have 2 answers for overrated. And one, I'm willing to concede that I got spoiled on the biggest plot twist. So that may have been the problem. I didn't really care for God of War, the new God of War. Like, it was fine. Like, I played it and I beat it, and it's a good game. But everybody was like, it's 10 out of 10, masterpiece. I'm like, did we play a different game? Like, I don't get it.
I've never played it, so it's all up to you.
Yeah, because like, so his son's like real identity. This game's old. Yeah, I knew what it was going in. I didn't think it was a big deal, but supposedly that was like a huge twist at the end or something. I'm like, oh, okay. And then another one, which again may also be a big twist, but again, this game came out 3 years ago. Come on, guys. But he eventually gets his Blades of Chaos back, and I didn't know that either. I was watching. You remember that girl Fruitcake that we had on a couple times, the cosplayer girl? Yeah, she was streaming it. I popped in her stream, and she had just got on. I'm like, God damn it! Like, I didn't want to get spoiled, but I saw that. I'm like, well, all right. So those things I knew going in, but that's it really. But overrated. And then I didn't really like Last of Us 2 like at all. It won Game of the Year. It was getting 10 out of 10s. Like, production value, oh my God, like, it's unparalleled. Like, the production value and the performances are amazing, but like what is happening is like so frustrating. I just couldn't believe what they did with the story. It was infuriating. And I know a lot of people like to say, oh, people just hate on it because it leaked early. I didn't see anything before the game came out. I didn't get spoiled. I didn't know anything going in. So that had nothing. Well, they were wrong too, apparently. So they said that Abby was transgender, but she's just buff. Like, that's, I mean.
But they weren't wrong about you playing as her, though.
Oh, I didn't know that was one of the
and the whole what happened to Joel thing.
Yeah. So that may go on to have a weird life in the lineage of PlayStation games, but I feel like Naughty Dog hasn't missed like in a long time. This was their first miss to me. They finally let me down. So, because I played... Not even Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 4? I liked Uncharted 4. I know a lot of people didn't like.
I really liked Uncharted 4 as well.
Yeah, it was there was a little too many climbing sections, but like I loved the look, I loved the locations. I really enjoyed the story and how it all came together and everything. So I liked Uncharted 4 a lot. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Last of Us 2 or God of War. Probably my most overrated.
This generation, most overrated game. I don't know. Fortnite?
That's a good one.
Battle Royale? The original Fortnite had a good, like what Fortnite was supposed to be. That was fun, which was was it like a Minecraft mixed with Orcs Must Die, which was a cool idea. You know, have you played Orcs Must Die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's like sort of like a tower defense thing or whatever?
Yeah, it was like you explore the world that you're like this area that you're in and find materials, and then the storm summons and it summons these monsters to like this generator, and you had to build like a fortress to make, create a like you place traps and you create like a maze to kill all the monsters. And that's what you did. And that's what
is that mode still live, or did they pull it out?
I think it is, but it's like the single player part. It's the part that you actually have to buy. But yeah, that's not what Fortnite's all about anymore. It's the battle royale mode.
Yeah.
What was another one?
Sorry, did you say underrated yet?
Yeah, that was underrated. Oh, overrated. Yeah, overrated was. I haven't said underrated yet.
Oh, okay.
Underrated. Tales of Hysteria.
I knew it. I think that game is appropriately rated.
Yeah, no, it's underrated. It's underrated. Its flaws are there are flaws that are. Okay, I'm gonna go with this joke. I'm gonna say the flaws are like, you could see them, like there's some parts where it's unfinished, or the dungeons are really quickly made and stuff like that. But I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed the characters, and that was really good, really good. But you see everything that's cut because you watch if you watch the anime, you see what was actually like what they were trying to do, and makes you want to remake the game with all these fixes. It's so good.
Yep, and don't pull Alicia out so early.
I mean, yeah, that happens, but she comes back in anime. She has so much more stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly. She had such a great character design too. She was fun with the spear and everything.
And she has a very epic character theme if you listen to it. And it's like, oh yeah, this character's in the game for like 2 hours.
Stupid.
More than that, by the way. I was just being hyperbole. Underrated. Overrated. I can't think of any on the top of my head anymore. I would just say every Tales game that came out this generation was probably underrated. Because people are expecting Tales to change the game up or something like that, but instead they just made a Tales game. It didn't push the boundaries of anything, but they're good. They're all right. They're typical JRPGs. And what's wrong with that?
I think, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think so many other JRPGs this generation lapped the Tales franchise, like Persona, So
yeah, but Persona was in the making for how long?
Well, exactly.
So long.
And how long were the Tales games in development? Not that long.
They're like 2 years apart, right?
Yeah, Persona 5 was probably 4 or 5 years, probably.
It was a long time, yeah.
Well, we'll put it this way. It got announced in, I think, we were still in the apartment, I think, when Persona 5 got announced. Because I remember watching the trailer.
Yeah, winter 2014.
In the living room. Yeah, and then winter 2014. But it didn't end up coming out in the States till 2017. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
It was definitely a while. So Josiah Ataku asks, Recently, I started up the first Grandia game, and I noticed how charming it was and wished I would have had it my first experience playing as a child. Are there any games you wish you would have played when you were younger?
Oh my God, yeah. A lot, probably just because I feel like some of the charm is lost now that, for me, it's hard to go back to games a lot of the time.
Because you're just too busy and you feel like responsibility takes over, right? And you just can't focus on them anymore.
It has nothing to do with that. It's more like, to me, I just feel like the design is like so outdated and not fun compared to modern games, you know? Like I actually liked Chrono Trigger, but I feel like if I played it when I came out, the game would have like blown me away because like it was doing stuff that I was like, I was like trying things. I'm like, oh, this is a Super Nintendo game. You can't do. Oh, you can. Okay. So I feel like that game would have blown me away. Another is Earthbound. I know I'll never be able to enjoy that game. I've watched too many videos on it, and I know what it does. I know what it's doing, and I just know I wouldn't have any fun with that game. But if I played it when it came out, it might have been a different story. So for me, it has nothing to do with like nostalgia or anything. It's more like game design has gotten better, and some of these old games are just so hard to go back to. That's my problem, at least.
I would have liked to play more PS2 JRPGs as a kid because I didn't really play many. Like I would like to have tried what's it called? Radiata Stories.
Radiata Stories, yeah.
Maybe Shadow Hearts, stuff like that. I mean, I played Tales of the Abyss or Tales of Legendia, not the Abyss. I didn't play Tales of the Abyss until later. Disgaea, and I know I'm missing so many because apparently there's a ton of JRPGs on the PS2, and that's a kind of a memory hole for me. Jade Cocoon 2.
Jade Cocoon 2. Kingdom Hearts? You didn't play Kingdom Hearts till like way later, right?
No, I played Kingdom Hearts when it first came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The first one, I had it, I don't know. I think I borrowed it from you. I don't remember. I borrowed it from someone, and I played it when it was coming out because I had this kid in my class. He would just he would just gush and gush about Kingdom Hearts. He was like, "If you play Kingdom Hearts, it was like Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters together. It's awesome. It's so fun. And there's like magic, and you fight the darkness, and there's Mickey Mouse." I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay.
I got it. Thanks.
I got it. I think I got as far as Monstro. I think that's near the end. No, I got as far as the Hall of Bastion, which is like near the end of the game. And then I stopped playing. But then I got back to it about a couple years ago.
Hey, with the collection, you played all of them, right? Going into 3 or most of them?
I played 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, 3D. Those are and Aqua, the Aqua one, the little short one.
Kingdom Hearts 2.8, a fragmentary passage. Or
that's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Stupid.
Yep. It was stupid. But yeah, those were fun. I would like to maybe be a kid and having an older brother with a friend who would bring over Final Fantasy VII Remake and be like, and being able to experience that as when we first experienced Final Fantasy VII. How would that blow our minds?
Oh, man. Be pretty great.
Would it, though? I don't know. Never going to have that experience.
No.
Life sucks. Spaghetti asks, how have you guys ever modified any of your console's hardware? When the PS3 came out, I added a green LED to the home button.
I modified my PSP to emulate Super Nintendo games, I think.
Yeah, but that's software mods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not much of a hardware guy. I mean, I think the best I ever did was put a sticker on it or something, but I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So
I have installed a magic switch on this baby right here.
Yep.
Which allows the C, which makes the CD constantly spin even when it's open. So it allows me to switch games and load up Japanese games. Only reason why I bought it. Bought it with conjunction of this Tales of Destiny remake.
Nice. What does DC stand for? I always hear you call it DC.
So there's the Tales of Destiny remake, right?
Yeah.
That was the normal. And then there's the DC, which is this one, Director's Cut.
Director's cut of the remake?
Yeah, and it adds like a Leon side of the story. Have you noticed that Leon is the focus?
Yeah.
And then stands right here in the background because there's a Leon's like story side. So you play as Leon as like side of the story.
Got it.
I haven't played it because it's all in Japanese and I have no idea what it is. I was able to play the Stan side because I know the story already.
Yeah,
I have a ton of software mods on my consoles, so I've done that a lot. And he asks, I know Taylor mentioned he played TF2 a few podcasts back. Maybe we can do a community TF2 game night.
So he's not talking about Team Fortress 2. He's talking about Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Because typically TF2 means Team Fortress.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, you haven't played Team Fortress 2.
No. Now, Titanfall 2 is so much fun. I mean, you know me, I don't play first-person shooters, but there is something about the wall running and the sliding and the mechs. Like, man, it's that game's fun.
But you play on the PS4, right?
Yep.
Yeah. PC only, man.
PC Master Race. That game's probably dirt cheap. I could probably buy it on PC.
Yeah, but can your computer run it? Oh, your laptop can maybe.
My laptop probably, but not my main computer. Which is weird because I feel like the hardware is like strong enough to run it, but it's something about like what drive I install stuff to or something.
Yeah, maybe. It also is pretty old now.
Yeah.
I would love to answer Spaghetti's question. I would love to do more community game nights. I'm just tired and life is busy right now, so it's hard for me to do anything at night.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to do anything in this podcast right now. So I'm trying to improve on my scheduling of this podcast and what's it called? Promoting it more. It's hard for me to do that. I'm not much of a social media guy, so if you guys want to be my marketing team for free, give me a shout out. Give me a message, DM me.
Can I just do free work for you?
Exactly.
Nobody loves that. Yeah, everybody loves doing free work.
Yep. I'm just messing with you guys. But if you want to. But that is our last question, Taylor. So if you want to ask us any questions, be sure to join our Discord or message us on Twitter. We'll answer them on our next podcast. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes or whatever podcast thing you're listening to, be sure to give us a like and a comment. And yeah, we will be back next week. See ya.